Hey everybody, this is Talal from mentoragile.com, and today is the final day, day 4 out of 4 of my CSPO certification class. It's going to start in about 15 minutes. So it's been an interesting journey so far, but today we will be getting our certification. So your boy is going to be an official CSPO, which is a certified Scrum product owner, and I look forward to seeing the fruits of my labor come into fruition. Thank you. Hey everyone, so we just got done with day 4, hour 1. We got 2.5 hours left, and essentially yesterday we left off in the middle of our refinement session. So as a team, we got into our breakout rooms, and we were basically creating user stories. So for our company, we have the Murder Mystery Madness online game, and basically we took the perspective of, for example, if a parent is making like a family account. So we made a user story that as a parent, I want to be able to customize my password so that I can keep my family's information safe. And then we used the given when then acceptance criterias, and basically it's like given the parent has already created their family account, whenever they are logged into the application, then they should be able to have the ability to choose their or change their password to their liking whenever they would like. So that was like a high level exercise. And the idea is, some good points that the instructor gave when it comes to breaking down stories, that there were 4 techniques that were given. One, the first technique is you want to look for conjunctions, which means in a statement, you want to look for ands, buts, or ors. So whenever there's an and, but, or an or in the user story, that typically means that we can break that down further naturally, and it makes sense because that customer is asking for more than one thing. And we want to make sure that the story and the request is independent, okay? The next technique over here, we want to use specific terms. So a good way that he basically drove that point home was saying how fast is too fast. So be specific whenever you see any type of vagueness. Number 3 is you want to use the frame of the acceptance criteria. If there's more than one items in the acceptance criteria, that is a pretty clear indicator that we can break the story down further. And last is walk the timeline. Essentially is walk through the pathway that the customer, the end user would take, and basically see like what are some natural points that we want to address in that process until they accomplish the end result. So we're on break. We got about 8 minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and take my break, and all right everybody, so we just finished the second hour, and essentially we did an exercise where we had to basically explain the why, who, and when, and the outcome that we expect when it comes to the 5 events in Scrum. So we have the sprint planning that starts the sprint. We have the daily Scrum that's for the developers to basically explain their progress towards the sprint goal. Then we have the sprint review, then we have the sprint retrospective, and then we also have the refinement that should be taking place, the product backlog refinement sessions. That's something that's supposed to be ongoing. And then essentially we have, he went into some ideas about having some fresh sprint retros. And one idea that he gave is you want to be create emotional distance, right? So in therapy, what they do, what he was explaining is they can have a different object, and they can use that object to explain the good attributes and the not so good attributes. And the idea is that we could implement to make this particular item or object better. Similarly, what he was saying is you could have the team, like for example, draw a smiley face to represent how did the sprint go. Right, and remember the sprint retrospective is the last event that ends the sprint, okay? So before the sprint ends, the sprint retro will take place. During sprint review, we covered this, and essentially this is where majority of the stakeholders that are involved in a project will jump on this meeting, and they will use this time to essentially get status, and this could be a pretty stressful time for the team where they're intimidated, right? So you want to help create distance. So first you want to identify and make a stakeholder matrix. So you identify which stakeholders need to just be informed and consulted, and which ones actually have interest and influence over the project. Then you want to focus on those ones, those stakeholders. And if they bring something up, then you want to use some ideas to basically like let them know like, hey, is this needed, right? Does this fit with the product goal? Ask that question if there's something that out of scope gets brought up. Number two way is you can say, is this something that's needed in the next sprint? If it is a yes, then we can talk about it. If no, we can table it. And that's the third idea, is to, you want to let them know like, hey, that's a great idea. Why don't we discuss about this at a later time? So you can basically deflect the attention away from that specific topic that's not in line with what the sprint goal even was. And there was a fourth idea, which is, yes, Agile does support. Right, and the idea is that, the fourth idea was, yes, we can include that in, but what would you like to give up for that? Because in Agile, yes, it's open to adopting, inspecting, and adopting change, right? But that doesn't mean you can have everything. So what would you like to give up for that? So I'm going to go ahead and take my break, and I'll check. All right, everyone, I'm done. And I made sure I got my certification. My account created with Scrum Alliance. My certification is active. Your boy is officially CSPO certified. All right, so in the conclusion, we actually, as a class, according to the instructor, went pretty quickly throughout the 4 days. So we did some estimation exercises, even though we as product owners don't do the estimation, the developers do it. It was nice to see the perspective of, what it would take to estimate. So we basically did 20/20, and we had some items, and we were just guessing, like, when it comes to fruits, like how hard is it to eat? So we had like blueberries, apples, oranges, bananas, coconuts, durian. Then the most complicated was pomegranate. So interesting enough, we filled up the time with some additional information. At the end, we took a class selfie. I go like this, and I talked to the instructor, and I planted a seed. I let him know about mentoragile. I let him know that we currently have 4 students that are looking to get their CSPO. So he told me that he'd be more than interested to talk about this and, potentially offering a heavily discounted rate for the students. And I was like, cool, awesome. Well, I look forward to talking to you when I return. So I'll be back right before the new year. So I'm going to talk to Mr. Instructor once I get permission to say his name then. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for following and watching. And stay tuned for more. My goal is to help give perspective within IT, along with other areas of life that I can speak on. And this is just a mini series that I did, first time ever trying it. And I will get day 2 refilmed. This will be my 3rd attempt to do it. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you soon.